Shit like this is the reason why I said, you know what? I'm not putting my all into this boxing shit. It's too much bullshit and too much work for little reward, if that makes sense. But before I go on, I want you to listen to this shit right here from Errol Spence. And mind you, I'm an Errol Spence fan. In fact, I flip flop on who I think would have the upper hand in Spence versus Crawford. So, for example, before Crawford fought Evernessian, I was saying it was a 50-50 fight. Before Spence fought Ugas, I was saying it was a Crawford fight. Now I'm picking Errol Spence, but hey, either way, it's a fight that needs to happen. And I'm sick of the bullshit. And just to get it out of the way, I'm a PBC guy. I'm a boxing fan, first and foremost. We got problems right now, significant problems in boxing media, where you got too much tribalism and too many promoters, too many hands in the pot, too many networks, and the sport, too many pay-per-views, and the sport is kind of eating itself. And then the media, especially the media, and I'm going to say it this way, the writers, they're not doing it no more. The writers are not in control. These kids, these up-and-coming generations of boxing fans are not reading. However, the writers are very well respected by the powers that be in boxing. The managers, the promoters, the PR people. And don't get me started on boxing PR. All of them, not all of them. There's some good ones that are kind of in touch, like with the future. But some of them, it's like, yo, y'all part the reason why these motherfucking pay-per-views and these fighters not selling. It's taboo to talk about as a fringe media member myself. I'm jaded boxing media, I guess. I want to give it thanks to my team, from Mikey to, Kyle to, Donnell to Big J to Tony, and the list goes on, because throughout the last 6 years or so, since I started Fight View 360, we've covered some of the we covered some of the biggest fights in the world, from Mayweather to Pacquiao. We had somebody there. From Mayweather McGregor, I damn near killed myself traveling and getting people to cover all of those press events. Saudi Arabia, Joshua versus Ruiz versus Joshua too. And the list goes on. We've covered so many fights. I've been ringside myself for many matchroom fights. I was at Joshua Ruiz 1. We've reached the highest of the high when it comes to boxing. But I just don't have it no more. And I'm always going to cover boxing. For example, this last weekend, Michelle Rivera versus Frank Martin, that really interested me, because we don't get those type of fights here in the States that often, like we used to do back in the HBO days. When they pretty much were like the only big juggernaut in boxing, where you had those, what they called in the UK, domestic level clashes, because with the way the system's been in boxing, and this goes for pretty much all promoters to an extent, is that guys like Frank Martin and Michelle Rivera, wouldn't be fighting until they got a title, but in this case, we got to fight like that early. So shout out to Errol Spence for making that helping that get done. But listen to this shit right here. And these are my opinions and my opinions alone. We are not always supposed to agree. There's going to be times when you're going to watch my videos, you're going to be like, hey, man, this guy's all right. And there's going to be other times you're going to be like, this fucking guy's a dickhead. Remember, that's how it's going to be. I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to block you. I may cuss you out in the comments. You may cuss me out and say some shit, but that's cool. We homies. So my job is to report the news, but also I'm giving my opinions as well. But this video is clearly an opinion video. So listen to this shit right here. This was from the Showtime broadcast with Brian Custer, by the way, the best host of press conferences. I'm going to say 2021 and 2022, 2020 as well. Like, he really asks some good questions. In his podcast, he really gets to the nitty gritty of things. And he interviews everyone from all platforms, not just the Showtime platform in which broadcasts his podcast. But dude is the fucking man, and highly respected in boxing communities. When he first came on the scene, I forgot when it was. Was it 2018? I don't remember. And I was like, oh, this nugget head. Me being all ignorant and shit. And then he grew on me. Like, dude's the fucking man. So shout out to Brian Custer. But let's play this shit. Listen to this shit right here, man.
But man, if he did everything that he could to make the fight happen, the fight would have happened, man. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, he didn't. And he went about it the wrong way. If he was just, been on the up and up and just been like, hey, I've been talking to the guys. I'm fighting this guy for $10 million. It's an easy fight. I'm going to make this money right quick and I'll be right back. We probably let him do it. I'm not hating, get your money, man. But, the way he went about it and then, trying to blame my side for, messing up the negotiations, I feel like that wasn't right at all. So, but, hopefully, I can spin that block again and, go to negotiations and try to fight him because it's a fight I really want. So, hopefully we can make it happen next year.
Okay, if that's the case, then when do you want to be back in the ring? Because you just said that you expect to be back in the ring. When will you be back in the ring?
Probably like around May or June, April, May or June. Just gotta, talk to my team, and hopefully, I'll recover 100%. I'm sure I'll recover 100% because I've been in worse accidents.
Yeah. Yes.
I've been in worse accidents, but talk to my team, hopefully we come up with a date that suits both of us and make it happen.
So right there, okay. So his last fight was against Yordenis Ugas. That was here. Let me check real quick. When was that? April of last year. So he's saying he's not going to return until now. He said April and he said May or June first. So I think that's more realistic. And he just threw April out there. My opinion, just to be like, oh shit, that's a little far away. Let me say April just in case. I don't think he's coming back in no motherfucking April. Especially when you look at Tank is going to be in January. His pay-per-view. Who's the February pay-per-view for PBC? Is that going to possibly be Thurman or Wilder? March. We got Plant Benavidez coming in one of those months. Possibly. Could be April. I don't know. But then he's talking about another year. Now, early rumors and reports were that the fight between Crawford and Spence and Crawford was supposed to happen this November. November the 19th was the date, right? Terence Crawford went on the fight on BLK Prime and made $10 million in a flopping pay-per-view. There's no official numbers on the pay-per-view, by the way. Numbers are ranging between 5,000 and 15,000 pay-per-view buys. But judging from the YouTube page of BLK Prime, they released the pay-per-view on their YouTube channel less than 40 hours after the fight. And even that struggled in the YouTube age for a full fight to get views. Crazy right here. Let me see. Crawford. There's Evanescence. Even that struggled. So look, that only has 3. This is from their official YouTube page. By the way, they need, hey, listen, no disrespect to Blue Blood, even though, I felt that he was a fucking scammer with that Wilder Glove Gate shit. Big moves from him. But at the end of the day, they need some help. They need, they need some digital people. In this day and age, I can't see how they only have fucking less than 4,000 subscribers. They just produced a pay-per-view, released the fight on YouTube, the full fight on YouTube. And that's all you can muster up is 325,000. Something is wrong. You see what I'm saying? They got to fix that. Especially with a social media talent like Adrian Broner. But anyway, I paid for this fight. It was $39.99. Terence Crawford, made $10 million. People are disputing that. Casual, I guess, boxing fans are saying, well, it says in the Nebraska State Athletic Commission he only made $2 million. No, that's how it works. That's the reported income. But trust me, that man got his $10 million. So I wonder, was this a move by BLK Prime? Was this a move by BLK Prime to try to shake up the landscape? They had to know that this pay-per-view was going to flop, right? They had to know. If they didn't, then, they need to just pack up because they're throwing the money away. Or did they think that this is the type of fight that would have enticed Errol Spence to come over? Because according to Bud Crawford, it was supposed to be, he said that BLK Prime was offering $25 million apiece for Spence and Crawford to fight. And Crawford, called up Spence like, look, we got these people that got this hedge fund. In fact, let's do a jump cut. I'm going to let the man say it himself. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I apologize to the boxing fans. Understand that I'm rebranding right now. The boxing content isn't going anywhere, but I'm going to be working off of 2 channels. So only mainstream big time boxing is going to be on this channel. Domestic stuff, like it's not going to be on this channel. If I feel it's not going to generate, a certain amount of views, then I haven't determined what that amount of views is yet, then it's not going to be on this channel. I'm going to be operating on my Fight View 360 boxing channel. And right now we are rebranding, especially since boxing really doesn't kick off again until when Take returns in about 2 weeks. What's that? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So here, I'm gonna pull up my Fight View 360 channel for you. So yeah, I'm going to be covering Ioka versus Franco. That's going to be on the annual Japanese New Year fight. But for the most part, a lot of my content is going to be on this channel, boxing content. So I'm rebuilding all this stuff. I revamped my Fight View 360 boxing website to make it more streamlined, to make sure we get you here. I'll show you. We get you the things that you need, out of the website, instead of just, so there's a lot going on. So I want to, thank you guys for your patience as I'm really rebranding, and we're really going into, the best way I can say it is the budget, the money spent on Fight View 360 in 2021 and 2022 was high, especially 2022. The highest has ever been, despite what you may think. I've spent a lot of money on Fight View 360 in 2022. So unfortunately, I'm finding ways to keep my team, but also I have to make budget cuts, if that makes sense, to produce better, more streamlined, higher quality content going into the new year. So I know it sounds kind of, but I'm figuring it all out. So I've been really in the lab brainstorming and getting everything done piece by piece. But in the meantime, you can check out here, as you can see, my Fight View 360 boxing channel. We had some successes, as you can see, the Ricky Hatton, 12,000, a few other fights I covered. I believe I put UFC on this channel, but then they took it down and then released it. So we're getting there. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Let's go on a jump cut, and I want you to listen to Terence Crawford talk about what he talked about with the Spence deal. Thanks for watching. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. So look, this is what I'm going to do, and I think this is the best way to do it. I'm going to play all of this audio. Now, I'm not saying I believe everything Crawford's saying. I'm not saying that. But from what I've learned about Crawford, he don't have nothing to hide. He's a free agent. And I knew, and I have to put this out there. I had a feeling, that PBC was going to make things really, really difficult for Bud to get the Errol Spence fight. I said that when he was with Top Rank. I was like, yo, they're going to send certain guys over there, but not their best guys. And they're not going to offer Bud Crawford anything to come over. They'll send a guy like a fucking John Molina, a Felix Diaz, just to avoid lawsuits, just so PBC and Al Haymon can say, well, look, you can't say we wasn't giving him no fighters. I knew that if he became a free agent, that he was going to have to sign with PBC and become one of Al Haymon's guys, or he wasn't going to get like a really fair shake. Errol Spence is Al Haymon's guy, one of his only remaining big time assets. He's got Tank, Wilder, but Wilder's already lost. His pay-per-view against Robert Helenius flopped big time. But Spence is his guy. So for Crawford to try to get a one-off deal, Al Haymon ain't going to be going for that. But listen, this is a long video. And we're going to talk about all of this. This is a video I should have done, as you can see, 6 weeks or so ago. But I was dealing with some legal issues. I'm launching a nonprofit called FathersAgainstAbuse.org. It's been under construction for about the last 4 years or so. I'm finally at that last phase of a nonprofit to help fathers, or in this case, let's just say parents, but in this case, fathers navigate the family court system, especially when you're dealing with high conflict custody battles. So it's going to be things to do, not to do, and also what I've learned through the process as I've spent about $58,000 in legal fees over the last 4 years. And I got to say, I damn near lost my life, was in a coma, false allegations from a woman where there was a trial involved. Now I'm involved in a lawsuit where I'm suing her and other people. But that's what I've been working on. So, even though I guess you can say I'm somewhat retired, this is, what I do, in my free time to keep myself sane. I do videos on shit. But let's play this long video here. And the reason why I'm playing this is I want you to pay attention. I'm going to also upload this on the Fight View 360 Boxing Podcast, which you can find on all of your podcast listening platforms. It's the Fight View 360 Boxing Podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher. So we're closing out the year strong. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. Here's my Twitter right here, by the way. Hold on. There we go. That's me. There you go. Jaded, degenerate boxing fan at Black Sheep Media. That's what it is, because people act like I don't exist sometimes. I just can't quit you. Fucking simple shit. All right, let's go watch this. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
What's up, everybody? We about to get ready to go live. Well, we already live, but we about to get into it. About to get into it. About to get into it. A guy, I started talking to.
My bad. I just want to fast forward through some fluff. We're about to start soon.
About to get into it. About to get into it. Yeah. All right, so listen, y'all. I'm about to give it to y'all raw and uncut. I started talking to Team Spence, I would say, and Al Haymon and them about May, right after his fight, just going back and forth. They sending me a proposal with the interest of a Spence and Crawford fight. We didn't get a contract until August, and it was just kind of like a regular contract. It wasn't nothing. It was initial proposal. It wasn't even a contract. It was a proposal, and Spence, Crawford, the intentions of us fighting. Okay, so we going on the basically the negotiations of what a contract would look like before we actually got the actual contract. Al goes in to saying a guy that I don't know, never represented me, not affiliated with Team Crawford, have no whatsoever place in Team Crawford's, stable, representing me in a contract which I have no nothing upon that I agreed to. So basically that was a standpoint of what the contract would look like. So basically, I'm talking to Al, and I'm like, Al, come on, man, I don't even know this guy. How can you do that? And he's like, well, the guy stated he's a part of your team and whatnot, and we going back and forth. I was a good dude, man. I was a, charming guy. He's a he's a cool dude, you know. I kind of like talking to him, but at the same time, Spence is our guy. I'm not. So of course he's gonna do what's best for, you know, his fighter, his guy. That's like, you know, any other manager slash advisor would do. He would do the best for his fighter. So, you know, me and Al, we talks on the phone, you know.
And you know something? That's something you always hear. Like, he's a very charming dude. I met him, but I didn't like, all he said was like, how you doing? I met him in what fight was that? I was at Khan Algieri. I was and Danny Jacobs versus Sergio Moore was on the undercard. I was in the back in the Barclays Center when they usually do like press conferences. And he was lurking in the back, but I was back there because that's where I always hang out while all the media are out there in, you know, in Media Row. Well, anyway, I met him, you know, like he got like that vibe, like, you know. But anyway. Oh, thank you, Al Haymon.
Advice from other guys in PBC.
He got these long ass, you can tell he used to hoop. He got them long ass like fingers. You can tell he can palm the rock. But anyway, let me stop interrupting. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Drop a like. I guess I should rewind back. I took you out of the ambience.
I was a good dude, man. I was a, you know, charming guy. You know, he's a cool dude. You know, I kind of like talking to him, but at the same time, Spence is our guy. I'm not. So of course he's gonna do what's best for, you know, his fighter, his guy. That's like, you know, any other manager slash advisor would do. He would do the best for his fighter. So, you know, me and Al, we talks on the phone, you know. I get advice from other guys in PBC. They tell me, you know, be careful, make sure the deal is right. They tell me, make sure you don't get fucked. You know, just normal things from guys that's in they stable that I'm friends with. You know, I honestly can say I'm friends with. So, you know, we going.
Was he talking about Broner? Was Broner telling him some shit like that? Because, you know, Broner's now on a BOK Prime fighting on, what's that, February the 25th against Ivan Radkach. And Broner's been very, very vocal, but also respectful of Al Haymon and Steven Espinoza. In fact, let me play this clip from Broner, an interview he did with Fight Hub, and I never do this. You'll never see me. It's rare that I'll use other YouTubers' content, even though I can legally use it. Still, I kind of find I kind of find it distasteful. You know, like using like Fight Hype or Fight Hub and all that shit. But in this case, once a year, you know, I will basically like use somebody's shit within legal fair use grounds. But let me see, Broner, PBC. Here, let me look up this video real quick, and then we're going to go back and talk about it. Now, Broner's been talking like this for some time. So, for example, here's an interview he did with Barbershop Conversations. But the reason why, it's well known on his channel, why I don't have like too much respect for Barbershop Conversations, because he's a turncoat. That's not saying that a lot of his information don't be true, but his credibility is kind of shot, because once PBC blacklisted him from events and everything, he was getting out of control. It was a Kenny Porter situation, Keith Thurman father situation. And there was a Top Rank and a Matchroom situation. He just got blacklisted. I'm talking about, you never see nothing like this really happen in media, where like basically all the head PR people who are pretty much friends, or, you know, they work with each other in some capacity, they all come together to ban somebody. But I'm not saying everything, you know, the content that he produces about PBC or, you know, other promoters have been wrong, but he's a clearly biased dude, and he is jaded himself, more than jaded. He's like bitter.
I already know. I know the people happy to hear you, man, and great spirit.
You see what's going on with Showtime?
What's happening? What the fuck happening?
With
Man,
boxing?
nigga, what's happening? Tell everybody.
That shit damn near over with.
Showtime?
Yeah.
How the fuck?
They talking about Steven Espinoza done. Man, they saying that boxing shit over with Showtime.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's some crazy shit going on, man. We about to be fighting on Twitter. We about to be fighting on Twitter.
Niggas mama's made snot come out my nose, man.
Hey, man.
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Nah,
They
don't
be
say
funny,
that.
dog.
Showtime ain't going through shit like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know if everybody knows it's you.
Hell yeah, I know, man. It's getting bad, bro. They can't even promise Earl and Terence no guarantees. The fuck?
I don't know why I froze right there. You think that's PBC trying to silence me? Let me see. Is that the clip? What the hell happened? Well, anyway, what he's talking about is Showtime as a network. Take boxing out of it. Network owned by Viacom under Paramount. Paramount Plus has an app. Showtime has an app. Showtime Anytime app is trash. You can watch anything from Showtime Anytime on Paramount Plus app. There's been heavy circulation in news reports about, Paramount merging Showtime content into Paramount and Showtime as a network becoming no more, meaning Showtime, the channel. Ratings for boxing on Showtime have been dipping big time, and you see it in the pay-per-view numbers. So the big brass, now these are people well above Showtime boxing, above Steven Espinoza, probably don't even watch boxing, looking at the numbers in the bottom line like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? Ratings are dropping. These pay-per-views we're putting all this money into them, they're flopping. So a fight like Spence Crawford, two guys that really don't sell like crazy pay-per-view buys. In my opinion, Spence versus Crawford wouldn't even do 1 million pay-per-view buys, 700K tops, in my personal opinion, no matter how much money you put into it. So the networks are probably like, look, we don't have the money to give them. Let these fighters sell themselves. But I'm going to let him finish. Let me see. Where did we leave off? And then we're going to go back to Crawford.
Guarantees. The fuck? Man, hey, Mac. We about to be fighting on.
It muted right there. But here's what he told Fight Hype at Crawford Evanescence last week. Fight Hub, excuse me.
We ain't living off promises.
But I'm going to do it this way.
The money is real. We ain't living off promises.
Yeah, overall, I think a lot of the fighters, in general, the thing has been like dates, like and them being consistent. And you kind of alluded with like the promises part. I guess overall, what's your opinion on that? On fighters not being able to be active in this age now?
I'm gonna just say this, man. Y'all better wake the fuck up, man, because even you young fighters, y'all sitting out a year, 18 months, 24 months out your prime. Like you don't get them years back. So just wake up and do what's best for y'all. And that's all I'm gonna say. But there comes a time where it's like, all right, now I fought 18 months ago, and y'all saying I ain't gonna fight till another 9 months. What the fuck is this? Hell no, y'all gotta wake up, man.
So it's no secret that PBC has a lot of fighters, and they have issues having dates. With the only networks that they have is Showtime and Fox. But Fox doesn't put on any regular TV programming anymore like they did on Free TV, Fox, and FS1. So you have the only platform you have for them is the pay-per-view outlet over at Fox. A lot of fighters are not getting dates and are not as active as they should be, which is why you don't see a lot of fighters fighting over at PBC. Now, here's the thing. PBC, they just don't have the dates. They just don't have the networks. So something's going to have to give, because all these fighters, as Adrian Broner, that, you know, they're tired of the promises. It's no reason why a lot of these fighters should be fighting once a year. Now, Adrian Broner, he pulled out of his last fight citing mental health issues against Omar Figueroa. But still, nonetheless, and Omar Figueroa went on to fight Sergey Limpinets, who Sergey Limpinets ended up retiring him. But the point is, it's like something is definitely wrong, and we can't keep acting like it's not. Now, what you're going to see over the next coming weeks is that a lot of YouTube media and boxing media, they're going to be talking about nothing, because we don't have nothing on the schedule.
On and on, you know, and like one of the guy stated he's a part of your team and whatnot, and you know, we going back and forth, you know. I was a good dude, man. I was a, you know, charming guy, you know. He's a cool dude, you know. I kind of like talking to him, but at the same time, Spence is our guy. I'm not. So of course he's gonna do what's best for, you know, his fighter, his guy. That's like, you know, any other manager / advisor would do. He would do the best for his fighter. So, you know, me and Al, we talks on the phone, you know. I get advice from other guys in PBC. They tell me, you know, be careful, make sure the deal is right. They tell me, make sure you don't get fucked. You know, just normal things from guys that's in they stable that I'm friends with. You know, I honestly can say I'm friends with. So, you know, we going on and on, you know, and of course me and Al, you know, we going back and forth about, you know, the numbers. We're not going back and forth about anything else. We just going back and forth about the numbers. All in all, I have 2 companies, you know, that reach out to me that, you know, wanted to give me and Spence $25 million guaranteed. $25 million guaranteed up front. So a real guy like myself, I call Spence. Hey, bro, look, listen, you know what I mean? I got this company that's willing to give us $25 million a piece, guaranteed. What's up? What you gonna do? He like, 25 million, what about the back end? I'm like, dude, listen, if they make their money back, then we get 80-20. You know what I mean? It's simple math. I said, man, we got people all still in the fight. They got the fire sticks. He laughed. He like, man, I got a fire stick too. I'm like, see? I'm like, man, ain't nobody really buying, you know what I mean, pay-per-views no more. I said, man, we get this.
And that's the truth. What is fucking so hard about that? These fighters need to get that guaranteed money. This man got a guaranteed money. 10 million. But these pay-per-views, look at the numbers. Are we lying?
Upfront money, and we good. It's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? But one thing about me and the difference between me and the difference between Spence is I'm really my own boss now, and he's not. He got to go through Al. He got to go through, you know what I mean, his team and ask them if he can do certain things that I don't have to no more. Yeah, I might have had to when I was with Top Rank because I was signed to Top Rank and they was my promotional company. So of course I had to go to Top Rank and ask them to get me this fight or do this for me or do that for me because I was obligated to do certain things by their standard because I was signed to them. But now that I'm a free agent and I'm free to do whatever I want, I'm the one sitting at the table. I'm the one that's you know, talking directly to these high individuals. Errol Spence not talking to you know what I mean, Terence Crawford about the fight. You know what I mean? Errol Spence wasn't at the table. Errol Spence can't tell you or show you a contract that, you know what I mean, says Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, you know, that he was there on the negotiations of. He can't do it. You know, so he had to go back and ask Al for permission, you know, if he can, you know, take this big chunk of lump sum of money to fight Terence Crawford, which he didn't call me back, so I proposed it to Al. I hit up Al. I'm like, Al, listen, you know, man, I got this big hedge fund company out here, you know. They claim they know you. Not one, but two. Not one, but two. You know what I mean? Two companies willing to put 20 plus million in both of our pocket, guaranteed. Al told me straight up, I'm not letting nobody touch this fight. Like, all right, cool. But I'm like, why? He like, why would you want to put a ceiling on yourself? Why you want to put a cap on yourself? I'm like, well, that's not putting a cap on myself. If this company is taking a risk, then, you know, high risk, you know what I mean, high reward. If that's the case, you know, I can't seem to see a fight that's been doing millions, you know, since Floyd and them. So, you know.
Now, and that's where I think that Al Haymon, no matter how smart people think that he is, that's where he be delusional. Like, you know, Terence Crawford is right there, but you have to look at it from Al Haymon's side. He's like, yo, like, you're a boxer. I've been doing all this shit for years. You know, you can't, but can you be mad at Crawford for trying to be his own man, whether he has the know-how or education or not? But getting guaranteed money, listen, this man just made, like, listen, how can we dispute that? Is Tank Davis making 10 million guaranteed to fight? Is Errol Spence making 10 million guaranteed to fight, no matter how much the pay-per-view does? Tell me right now in the comments, that Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford does 1 million pay-per-view buys, especially the longer that it takes to make. Crawford is on his way to 36 years old. In fact, let me do some simple math here for you. Let me do some simple math here for you right here. $74.99 at 800,000 pay-per-view buys is about a little under, just a little cunt here under $60 million. 20 apiece. The other 20 go to production and manager fees and all kind of shit like that. But do you think that this fight does 800,000 pay-per-view buys? I don't think so. 600, like, maybe, bro. I want to say 800, but I don't see it. Not in this generation, especially the longer it takes to make. They're pissing off fans. And both of these guys, you know, Errol Spence is definitely the bigger draw. Both of these guys don't have super big drawing star power. They're not big star guys. They're great fighters, great for this generation. All the hardcores are going to come out to watch this fight. It's going to be a sellout if they don't fuck around and try to jack the tickets all up. But no, I agree with Bud Crawford. It's like, what you mean? People not buying these fights. We not seeing no million pay-per-view buys anymore. Canelo can't even do it. No more. Like, come on, man.
Well, that was an altercation, you know. I asked Al, I said, since this fight is dragging on with me and Spence, and we can't get things together, why don't I come out and meet you with my lawyer and we just wrap it up? Just me and you and my lawyer. Al said, you know, his mother was, you know what I mean, not doing too well, and I honor that and I respect that. You know, family first. I'm a family-oriented type of guy, so I know what it is, you know, to, you know, put your family first. So I'm cool with that. But then again, you know, as negotiations still drag on, and I had stated that I wanted to fight in this year, I asked Al again, because we seemed like we wasn't getting nowhere. So I asked Al, I said, Al, listen, why don't you get Spence and you, since you his representative, and I'll get myself and my lawyer, and we just make this fight, you know what I mean, anything we gotta do, we can do it right there and sign, seal, deliver. And Al told me straight up, that ain't never happened in the history of ever, where two fighters sit down at the table and they come to an agreement and they get a fight made like that. Not even Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So I'm like, okay, well, it's the first time for everything. I never heard of.
And how can Al be mad at that? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? This shit, look, you see what I'm saying? And this is only one side of the story. And this only makes me think that Al Haymon and PBC are going to make things more difficult for Crawford because of this, especially with the way Spence was talking. You know, at Showtime this last weekend at Rivera versus Martin. Like, you know, you can see the man is saying it's multiple times he tried to make the fight. Like, he's like, listen, let's meet up. Let's talk. Let's all sit down. And this makes me think they don't want to fight. Or if they can't fully dictate and control, it's like, nah, you know, especially since Errol Spence is such a high value asset to PBC. High value. You can't think that, you know, it's hard for me to believe that, you know, they're not trying to protect him. You know, it's hard for me to believe, especially what happened with Wilder Fury. That was a big, devastating hit for PBC. And then Kwiatkowski losing, they, you know, like, no, and they definitely could not lose Tank at any cost.
Two fighters sit down at the table and they come to an agreement and they, this year, I asked Al again, because we seemed like we wasn't getting nowhere. So I asked Al, I said, Al, listen, why don't you get Spence and you, since you his representative, and I'll get myself and my lawyer, and we just make this fight, you know what I mean, anything we gotta do, we can do it right there and sign, seal, deliver. And Al told me straight up, that ain't never happened in the history of ever, where two fighters sit down at the table and they come to an agreement and they get a fight made like that. Not even Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So I'm like, okay, well, it's the first time for everything. I never heard of a fighter ever taking zero guarantee in a fight. I never heard of a fighter of a 4-rounder taking 0% of a guarantee. That is something that's new to me, but that's something that I was willing to do to make this fight happen. You know, a lot of people, you know, they say, oh, well, Terence, you ducked, or Terence, you did this and you didn't want to fight Spence. I'm the only one that was taking all the risks. You know, I told him, all right, cool. I take no guarantee. I take, you know what I mean, the less end of the money. You know, whatever it is you want, I'll take it, because that's how much confidence I got that I'm going to beat that man. That's how much confidence I got I'm going to beat that man. So, you know, even though I know I was getting fucked in the long run, I just, you know, wanted a little transparency. I said, okay, if I'm gonna bet on myself and I'm gonna go against all the odds, then I wanna, you know what I mean, a little transparency. Of course, you know, I wanna be able to write off on, you know, things that's gonna affect my check. Of course, I wanna see if the numbers add up to what they telling me. You're not gonna go in. It's just simple to me to think that a person will go in a business with a person 50-50, and this person would tell them, well, you got to give me 50% down, and I give you 50%, and then you say, oh, well, I'm not going to tell you how much we really made, but I'm going to just give you this. You just got to trust me. Come on now. It don't make no sense. I never was offered a guarantee, not once. I never, you know what I mean, was given anything. But here, you want this fight? We gonna fuck you, and then, you know what I mean, you got what you want. But, you know, that's how much confidence and faith I have in myself. You know, I took it all. I took it all. I took the risk. You know, big risk, big reward. That's how I look at it. And I believe in my abilities, and I believe in myself. So I'm like, it's whatever. You know, Errol Spence, he can't say the same. He can't say the same. You know, he on audio, saying Al Haymon gonna make sure he's good. He's in the best position to win this fight. Of course he is. He supposed to. You know, you got everything surrounding you to help you. You know, so people mad at me because Al told me if I don't take this fight, he's just gonna go and Errol Spence gonna make eight figures. He's gonna make 8 figures without me. So basically,
I don't know. This shit sound fucked up. You know, and here's that audio he was talking about.
He just said, you know, I guess Crawford don't really understand what's going on. He questioned, and I guess he don't really trust his attorney, so he want to talk to Al personally and ask questions about what's going on and this and that. So I don't know, but he said he should be getting it wrapped up shortly. So yeah, no, man, I'll be getting killed on media. Yeah. Everybody talking about I wouldn't go. I'm like, I ain't got time for it. Like, I know what's going on. I mean, I'm thinking hopefully we can do it in January. I mean, that's the only fight out there for me, so. Yeah, I'm not fighting term. So. That's out the window. Yeah. I already told Al that. I said, nah, just fast me. I'm not fighting him. There's not the fight I want. I mean, that's the most money. That's the legacy fight. You know, that's it right there. That really decides who's the best in boxing. Me or him. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you talking about Terence? Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I just say he just think he got a lot more he got a lot more questions with him than he did with Bob. Yeah. He said he asked him, like you asked him, you know, Bob all these questions. Yeah.
Well, he said, yeah, he was under contract, you know, so he did what Top Rank told him to do. You know, so I think I said, I think this shit is fucked up. And I really don't think, you know, I didn't want to believe it, but I don't think that PBC like really want this fight. I never thought that they did. You know, Errol Spence may want it, but, you know, as Terence Crawford saying, he's not his own boss. Let me finish this up because we don't have much time left in this video. Let me let Crawford, for those who didn't see it, I know this is old, but, you know, I've had about a month and a half to really investigate for myself before I gave my own opinion on things. And, you know, this interview from Spence this last weekend, like really, you know, that was it for me. And especially now that we know Crawford got that guaranteed $10 million, despite the fact that, you know, BLK Prime flopped. And Spence Crawford is definitely not happening on BLK Prime, so just forget that.
He's in the best position to win this fight. Of course he is. He supposed to. You know? You got everything surrounding you to help you. You know? So people mad at me because Al told me if I don't take this fight, he's just gonna go and Errol Spence gonna make 8 figures. He's gonna make 8 figures without me.
So now Al's got to give him that money. But the only fight that they can generate that money is Terence Crawford. I mean, not Terence Crawford, possibly Keith Thurman. You know? And Spence don't want to fight Keith Thurman. But he's got mandatories piling up with Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz about to fight. Boots Ennis is going to be fighting on January the 7th. So, you know, the cards are stacking up against PBC and Spence.
So basically, he telling me, well, you take this fight or leave it, or you got nothing. basically, because we've been dragging and dragging and dragging. So when I don't know, like the type of caliber of people that he been dealing with or they been dealing with, but I'm not the type of guy to just sit on my ass and sit on my hands for no man to feed my family. So you mad at me for taking a fight with a tough opponent? You know, you may not know him, but he's a tough opponent for a bigger purse, a guarantee that I wasn't even gonna get. You crazy in the head. You crazy in the head. So now here we go. You know what I mean? Back to square, you know what I mean, one. Like, what do you really expect? You expect me to be disrespected, ran over, stepped on, and just sit there and just take it? That's crazy. That ain't even my style. See, me personally, I wasn't even gonna say nothing because I'm not the talkative type, and y'all pretty much know that. But sometimes, you know, you gotta say what's real. You gotta say what's on your mind, and you gotta stop letting these people just do what they want with you. A lot of people say, well, did he ask to see Bob Arum's books? Did he ask for transparency with Bob Arum? No, I didn't. You know why? A lot of y'all probably don't even know why. But I was signed to Bob Arum. I wasn't my own boss. I was given a guarantee on every single fight that I fought for Bob Arum in Top Rank. That's the difference. That's the difference, you guys. So if you guys can't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, you know.
I forgot the number. Let me look it up real quick to tell you how much he was making. A guaranteed a fight with with Bob Arum. It was in the lawsuit documents. Remember, he was suing. I don't know if it's still going on, Al Haymon, for discrimination, racism, and shit like crazy. Crawford's hands are not clean. Hold on. Here is the article from Boxing Scene. Specified in the 2018 agreement, Top Rank to deliver 2 fights contract year. Okay, what was the number? So he made $3.5 million plus an additional $45,000 for Jose Benavidez. Okay. April 2019, he was paid $4.8 million. You know, and these are regular ESPN fights, guys. Crawford fought just once. Kavalatzis, he made $4+ million. Like, fighters don't be making that type of money without being on pay-per-view. Okay, he made 3.5 against Kell Brook. $6 million against Sean Porter. That was on pay-per-view. That pay-per-view flopped, by the way. So Top Rank owed him a fight, and he wanted the Spence fight, but they wasn't pushing for it, you know, for whatever reason. So that's why he got into legal issues with them. They didn't honor the contract. So I think they owe him like $5 million or so, but he wants like $10 million extra. I don't know. I'm not going to get into details. I actually did a video on it, but this is not what that video is about. And also, yes, I do acknowledge that I did do some research on the glove situation, and I do feel it should be ruled a no contest, his fight against David Evanesyan. And Everlast is like, for one, the commission, how was that allowed to happen? How was the gloves not changed? But that's a whole different video. And also, we're approaching an hour here for this podcast video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360.
So I stated that I want to fight this year, and that was my thing. I wanted to fight this year. So we going back and forth, numbers, boom, 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 boom. So the transparency part, you know, that was the dragger. Where was Errol Spence at? I didn't hear Errol Spence. Where was the tweets? I didn't hear the tweets. I didn't see the tweets. Where was this guy at? He was under a rock. If you a real one, like you say you is, like the truth, you'll come out and tell the truth. You tell the truth, buddy. Come on, man. I called you and told you, listen, got this bread on the table, man. What is you doing? What is you doing? You not your own boss, my dude. So stop saying that you your own boss. Stop saying that you the truth and you this and you that, but you gotta answer to a lot of people, my dude. You gotta answer to a lot of people, and I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. They got you to where you is now. They got you to where you is now. But, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying. But like, when you look at it, a lot of people say, oh, well, why you didn't fight Boots? Or why you didn't fight Ortiz? Well, them names that never came up. I would have fought them names in a heartbeat. Come on, man. I'm the best fighter in the world. Who you think I am? Who you think I am? I'm the best fighter in the world. I always fought in my mandatories. I ain't never ducked my mandatories. But, you know, yet and still, I hear through the grapevine, Spence is about to fight a guy that he promised and he swore that he wasn't going to fight, which is Keith Thurman. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's what's floating around. So, what's up with the trueness with that? You swear up and down that you're not gonna fight this guy. You don't care what nobody say. Now you about to fight him. So that means you was lying, buddy. But you know why he gotta fight Thurman? You wanna know why, fans? Because of the money. It's all about the money. Come on now. He not gonna make that much money fighting Ortiz or Boots. Come on, man. It's obvious.
Is that not the truth?
Who Spence gonna fight besides me that's gonna make, you know, $20 million? Nobody. I don't know. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I don't know how truthful it is, but you know, Floyd say, you know, he's the spokesman of PBC and he's our right-hand man. We done heard that on numerous occasions, and Floyd came out and said that the fight wasn't happening in this year. So, y'all mad at me for going to get a bag? When did that ever happen? Y'all mad at me for going to get a bag? Come on, man. We're going to turn up with BLK time. You know what I mean? We're going to do our thing, man. We stepping up to the plate, man. They turning boxing around, man. All the biggest fights, you know what I mean, going through them. You know, they the new wave, you know? Hey, giving these fighters, you know what I mean, they just do.
I don't agree. You know, how much money are they going to have before they have to start turning a profit? And I don't see a Spence Crawford happening on that platform. You know, maybe a Boots Ennis, Crawford versus Boots Ennis, because they're under the same management. Cameron Duncan, correct? You know, that's possible. But it's sad to say that if it's true that Spence is not going to return to May or June, wink April maybe, and you can see Keith Thurman training like a madman, I think it's going to be him, because it has to be him. And Crawford's right. Who else is going to be to guarantee that money? You know, him and Jamel Charlo, that's a super fight, but they're both in the same, you know, depends on how you look at super fight, you know, for the hardcores it is. But, you know, that fight ain't going to be happening in the same team, same camp. So we're not going to see Crawford Spence until next year around this time. If it happens then, no, I'm done. You know, like, you know, I love boxing too much to be, you know, I'm not a masochist, you know. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy and the Fight View 360 Boxing Podcast on all of your listening platforms. I just thought that I'd finally give my thoughts on Spence versus Crawford. Let me know down below in the comments on who you think is at fault and who you think is going to win the fight. Me personally, I'm looking at Al Haymon. It's like I'm looking at him. Is that a crime? It's looking like it's him. you know, and that PBC don't have no money. But we're going to see, because PBC can't keep going on like this. They must have something up their sleeve for getting their fighters active in 2023, right?